Hi everyone and welcome to Ball Python Breeder UK. In today's video we're going to go over something which is extremely important if you're just getting into the hobby, and that is how to do a health check on a ball python. And this is something that you can apply to other snake species as well, but I happen to have ball pythons here. So even if you want to keep other species too, please do stay tuned and watch this to learn how to spot a sick snake and avoid buying it. So I'm gonna get a snake out in a minute, check him over completely from head to tail, but first we need to decide on our checklist. So this is something that you should have in your head before starting, especially if you're going to look at a snake at a breeder's house or at a pet store. So our checklist is body condition, dorsum, which means the back, the eyes, the mouth, breathing, the belly, and the vent. Each one of these needs to be checked for certain things. So let's head over to a real snake and check each one of those in order. Okay, so first on our list we have body condition. Now, Snakey here is a young male yellow-belly piebald, and he hasn't been breeding yet. So at his age, he should still be kind of plump, but growing rapidly. And body shape, the body condition, should be just on the edge of triangular. You can still see some lines of muscle in the back here. There's not fat over the top of that dorsal back muscle. If you see a snake and the body shape is very slightly triangular like that, that is okay. But if you see one where when it's lying flat, the body is highly triangular and the backbone sticking out a lot, that means it's underweight. If you see one where it's really sticking out and the ribs are showing as well, that means it hasn't eaten for some time and it is very underweight. So do not buy that snake, no matter what you're told, just don't buy it. So that's the first one off the checklist. Now the second is the dorsum, and what I mean by the dorsum is just the back. It's just looking at the scales along the back and seeing what condition do they look like. If you see little black dots crawling around, that's snake mites. If you see scabs, that could be dermatitis, necrotic dermatitis, so a type of scale rot, for example. Sometimes lumps or bumps under the skin on the dorsum can also be a sign of certain parasitic infections, like parasitic worms that have gone into the muscle tissue or the subcutaneous tissue. So again, that would be something to avoid. Now when it comes to the eyes, this is where it gets a little more tricky, because they get upset when you mess with their head. When it comes to the eyes, what are we looking for? If I can get it to focus, we're looking for clear eyes, not stuck eye caps. They should be clear and bright. There shouldn't be bits of what looks like skin sticking out around the eyes. It should just be eyes and nothing extra, if that makes sense. And then obviously next, as we're near the head section, is the heat pits. See if we can get him to hold still. I'm not holding him hard. You can see his heat pits, the heat sensors are clear. They shouldn't be obstructed. Let's see if we can hold him just for a sec. Well, this is as good as it's going to get with him. But the heat pits should be clear. They shouldn't be obstructed. They shouldn't have scabs. They shouldn't have any substrate stuck in them or anything like that. Then after the heat pits, well, the heat pits is kind of part of the mouth, which is number 4 on our checklist. So the mouth, I'm just going to restrain him a bit, but not hard. What are we looking at? We're looking for a mouth that closes normally. You can see the line there of his mouth, it's all closed. There's no baggy lips, there's no saliva coming out, there's no bubbling. Anytime a python looks like it can't close its mouth properly, or there's anything coming out or any excretions around the mouth, then you avoid that snake, you don't buy it. Okay, but you can see Snakey here, his mouth is clear. So I'm using an easy example. And also on the topic of the mouth, you can see that he's flicking his tongue. A healthy snake without stomatitis or mouth rot, as you most likely heard it called, should be flicking its tongue every few seconds. Sometimes they do it less if they're nervous, but it is a behavior that shows they haven't got anything major going on in their mouth. Now, after the mouth, number 5, this one is kind of hard to check on camera, but you want to check their breathing. So can we hear anything? Can we hear anything from him breathing near the camera? All I can hear is my parakeets in the background. The nostrils are clear. We can't hear any wheezing, bubbling, clicking, or kind of rattling noises. If you hear any of those noises, that can be a respiratory infection. So again, you don't buy that snake. But all you should hear from their breathing is occasionally a little wheeze if they're getting a bit stressed or excited. Again, obviously it's even better to put them up to your ear, but that's not the easiest thing. So after breathing, we want to go on to the belly. And the belly is, there's 2 things that can happen with the belly. The first is necrotic dermatitis, so scale rot almost always shows up on the belly. And that is the most common place you'll spot a problem. Obviously you can tell his belly's clear, he's healthy, it's perfect. And he's got a rat in there, so he's looking a bit fat around the middle. But the other most common thing you'll see on the belly is ticks. Now, if a snake has a tick, it looks like a round bump sticking out from one of the belly scales, and the belly scale is lifted up, and you can spot it easily. Again, if a snake has ticks, don't buy it. That's not normal in this day and age for animals to have ticks on them. And also, very occasionally, the belly can also be the first spot where you'll see the sign of a respiratory infection. A snake that isn't getting ready to shed but has a fully pink belly may be starting to get a respiratory infection, and that is something to watch out for. So a snake that has a pink belly because it's getting ready to shed will also be unusually dark on top. If the colours are normal on top and it's got a unexplained pink belly, then again, you don't buy that snake. And last but not least, the vent should be clear, free from scabs, obstructions, anything unusual. It should close properly. It shouldn't be open all the time. Sealed, just like the mouth. If that's good, then that is your full checklist and everything is good. So there you have it. That is how to quickly check if a ball python is sick. This is something that you should memorize and get to a point where you can do it in 20-30 seconds. Someone shows you a snake, you can say yes or no. If you spot anything during the health check, it's a no every time. You just don't buy that snake. But on top of this, I would also advise you to always ask breeders or pet stores about the feeding records of the animal. You need to know that it's been feeding consistently, and if you can get photos of it feeding, obviously they can take them before an animal's gotten sick, but for me it always gives me a little bit more peace of mind. So do ask for feeding records as well. So as I always say, I hope this has been useful information for you, but please do get in touch if you need more information, and please do like and subscribe and keep coming back every week. Thank you.